Hello, everybody. I hope all of you are doing okay. Right now, I am doing a different format for the video as I have received feedback from one of my subscribers who told me to always show my face. So I'm doing it right now. I'm showing my face so you can have a notice who am I. The reason I'm not wearing my mask as usual is because right now in different countries we have vaccines and people are being injected with the vaccine. So if ever I infect you, you are not going to be worried a lot. 1 year ago, this virus, this pathogen was such an issue, but not anymore. Okay, so just be careful, and you should wear the mask, not me. Okay, as the title of the video suggests, I'm going to provide the answers for the meeting. I hope you like them. If not, please let me know in the comments below. I'm not going to touch the parts in which the rank and file has no participation. I'm not. I'm just going to develop the parts in which you can participate, you can comment, in other words. So I hope you like it. Let's begin. Treasures from God's Word. Spiritual gems. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 29. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 29. 29, it says, and it must occur that when God, Jehovah your God, brings you into the land to which you are going to take possession of it, you must also give the blessing upon Mount Gerizim and the malediction upon Mount Ebal. How apparently was this verse fulfilled? According to the Inside Book, Volume 1, page 925 to 926. I'm not going to read all of what it says there, just the beginning of what it says. It reads, in harmony with instructions given by Moses, the tribes of Israel assembled at Mounts Gerizim and Ebal under Joshua's direction shortly after the conquest of Ai. There the people heard the reading of the blessings they would receive if they obeyed Jehovah and the maledictions that awaited them if they disobeyed him. The tribes of Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin stood in front of Mount Gerizim. The Levites and the Ark of the Covenant were situated in the valley, and the other 6 tribes stood in front of Mount Ebal. Apparently, the tribes stationed in front of Mount Gerizim responded to the blessings read in their direction, whereas the other tribes responded to the curses read in the direction of Mount Ebal. It's what like it had a division, one mountain and the other mountain. So, as the last paragraph says, the tribes stationed in front of Mount Gerizim responded to the blessing. The other tribes responded to the curses. It was like a game, interactive game of people stationed in one place and the people stationed in the other place, each one replying to blessings and cursings, things like that. Of course, the Inside Book continues to to explain, to read, and I'm not going to read any longer because, as you can see, the whole page is the inside book. So you can do your own research, but I tell you, I think this is the gist of the answer of this Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 29. Okay, it's in the screen. You can make notes if you want. Let's move on. What spiritual gems from this week's Bible reading would you like to share regarding Jehovah? This is my personal list of verses that I found in the Bible reading. So I hope you like it, or if you don't, please let me know in the comments. Let's begin with Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. It says, "And you must love Jehovah your God and keep your obligation to him and his statutes and his judicial decisions and his commandments always." Keep your obligation to him and his statutes. Jesus cited from this verse and others similar to it. He had enough wisdom to use his own wisdom to explain and reply. Rather, he quoted the scriptures. This is one of the scriptures quoted by Jesus. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. A complete example for all of us to always use the scriptures to reason and defend our beliefs in our daily life. Doesn't matter if the people around you don't reason or don't use the logic. You must stick always to the scriptures. That is a must in your life. Another Bible verse, Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 16. It says, "Watch out for yourselves, for fear your heart may be enticed, and you do turn aside and worship other gods and bow down to them." We have the direction, the command here. What is my comment? Entice means to persuade someone to do something or go somewhere, usually by offering them something that they want. Clear is the meaning there, entice. In those times, it was completely banned that you even think of worshiping idols. But people entice you to believe what they believed in those times. Those times we've got a lot of idols, paganism around the world. So the command here was clear for them, not to be enticed by someone. Even they offer you something, pleasure, they offer you money, rulership, or whatever. Don't allow yourself to be enticed by no one. Let's move on. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 19. It says, "You must also teach them to your sons, so as to speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk on the road and when you lie down and when you get up." It was a clear commandment to always repeat and repeat to your children. The more you repeat something, the more stick in the heads of the people, especially children. Even adults who reverse to atheism, because you don't become atheist, you reverse to atheism. Because when you were born as such, an atheist. Think about it. Many people I heard say, he has become an atheist. No, the correct word would be, he has reversed to atheism. Remember, no baby is religious. All babies are atheists. You teach the babies, the children, the kid, that you have a God. But they don't have that belief when they are born. We have the lesson of David and Goliath. Children usually can learn not to fear the size, rather self-confidence and use of brain can lead to a glorious victory. That sounded like Margaret Thatcher's word. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 16. 12:16. It says, only the blood you must not eat. On the earth you should pour it out as water. The commandment here was clear. No eating or drinking of the blood. This commandment is repeated several times through the different pages of the Bible, especially in the Christian Greek scriptures or New Testament. It's repeated as we know we rule our lives only by that part of the Bible. The other part is just history. What I meant in that paragraph is that from Matthew to Revelation, that is the part of the Bible that we obey, the procedures and everything we are required to obey. But from Genesis to Matthew, before Matthew, I don't remember the Malachi or Zechariah, I don't remember. But from Genesis to the Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures has no relevance in Christians nowadays. No relevance. You can learn lessons from the Old Testament, from the Hebrew scriptures, but not the procedures. The procedures are no longer valid. The only procedures that we follow as Christians are the ones found in Matthew to Revelation, starting from the life of Jesus to Revelation. Before, just history, true history, yeah, 100% accurate, 100% history, but not the procedures. The procedures, no. I strongly disagree with people saying, oh, the whole Bible is inspired by God. Yes, the whole Bible is inspired by God, but not the procedures of the Old Testament. Those procedures are no longer valid. And if you want to pick up one procedure from the Old Testament, then why you are selective? Why you don't apply the whole Old Testament? Cherry picking the procedures that are most convenient to you. What about the rest? Either you choose them all or you don't choose anything. That would be a double standard, really a double standard. And we don't want to do that. That's why I repeat, the only procedures that we follow are from Matthew to Revelation. That's it. Let's move on to the next part. Apply yourself to the field ministry. Increase your joy in the ministry. Show empathy. Empathy. Three questions. How did Nita show empathy when Jade was late? How did Nita show empathy when Jade said that she was too stressed to have her study? How did Nita show empathy when Jade said that she's not really organized? I'm not going to play the video. That's your responsibility to play your video. What I'm going to give you is just the answer. If you really want to have the video, let me know in the comments so I can put a link in which you can watch the video that is talking about here. But in that video, we need to analyze it and reply these three questions that I'm going to give you just the answers and my comment. In the first question, in the video, we can see two people living with no economic struggle. In my humble point of view, they are much more richer than poor class people in my country. As I can see, Nita is rich enough to order a meal for Jade. I mean, Nita has her own car. So what is that all about? Well, Jade not so much, because in the video she said that she works. But what about Nita? So rich. Something that people tend to overlook, but not in my case. We can see the video that Nita is so happy because even Jade arrived late. She's finally there. So Nita was waiting, looking at the watch. What time she's coming, or perhaps she's not coming. Fortunately, nowadays we have mobile phones. Because imagine if this situation happened, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. Ooh, uh, we would rely on fortune to guess if our friend is coming or not. Nowadays, we have mobile phones. Jade didn't have any breakfast, so she's so happy Nita had the delicacy, the detail of inviting her something to eat. I imagine myself in that situation. If I arrive late to an appointment, in the way I would think, oh, what I would say, how am I going to be forgiven for arriving so late to our appointment? What would I say? What would be the reaction of the other person? That would be my questions in my head if ever that happened to me. But look, she's surprised with a breakfast. A breakfast that I never tasted. Let's move on. I'm completely honest with you. In my case, I don't usually go to Starbucks or similar places for rich people. Maybe I go once every 5 years or something longer. Last time that I went to Starbucks was what? 2014, 2015? The last time that I went to Starbucks. When I said Starbucks, I said any place that they serve coffee or biscuits, things like that. No, I don't go, really. And I said Starbucks is the only known place that they sell coffee. It's not for me. Consider it a waste of money. How much is a cup of coffee there? $3, $2? With $1, with $1. I can do my own coffee with just $1. Answer 2. Jade said she's not able to focus or breathe because of school, work, family, boyfriend. Nevertheless, Nita suggested that perhaps if she's more organized, she can be more focused on her schedule. I am not able to study and to work at the same time. I'm not able. I would do wrong either work or study. I just can't. But several people are able to do that. I don't know how they do it. Perhaps they are very responsible people. I am responsible, but that level of responsibility is out my reach. Oh, she's more organized. Okay, how is that? Organized. Nita gives everything their proper place. So she offered her assistance if she's interested. Look, when you have that kind of friend like Nita, you have found treasure, really treasure. You don't have friends like that. Look at the whole page that is showing in the screen. If ever you have such a friend, never lose that friend. It's really treasure to find that. You don't find that kind of people in a party, perhaps in a party or things like that. But you really need to dig deeper to find that person. I wish I have a friend like that, like Nita. Let's move on. Congregation Bible Study. Pure worship of Jehovah, restored at last. Chapter 10. You will come to life. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 5. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 5. What it says there? It says, this is what the sovereign Lord Jehovah has said to these bones. Here I am bringing them to your breath, and you must come to life. Good. Paragraphs 8 to 12. Let's say. Question 8. How was the house of Israel in a death-like condition? How does Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 9 indicate the cause of Israel's symbolic death? The symbolic demise of Israel had already begun in 740 BCE, before Common Era, with the fall and exile of the 10-tribe kingdom. 10-tribe kingdom. Remember that Israel, in times of Solomon, had just one country with the 12th tribe of Israel in it. But after the death of Solomon, the country Israel became divided. 10 tribes separated from 2 tribes. The 10 tribes had its capital city called Samaria, and the two tribes had their capital called Jerusalem. So this 10-tribe kingdom had fallen in the hands of the Assyrians. The Assyrians destroyed the 10-tribe kingdom. Demise. But what is the word demise? Demise means the end of something that used to exist. Okay, that's the meaning of the word demise. Some 130 years later, when the people of Judah were also deported, the whole house of Israel was in captivity. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 11. It says, "And he went on to say to me, Son of man, as regards these bones, they are the whole house of Israel. They are saying, our bones have become dry and our hope has perished. We have been severed off to ourselves." 130 years later. So the 10th tribe kingdom, according to the book, the 10th tribe kingdom fall and became and got into exile. And after that event, 130 years later, Judah were also deported. So in 130 years, they didn't purchase any weapon. They didn't arm themselves. They didn't plan what to do to avoid being destroyed, like the 10th tribe kingdom, according to the book. I'm glad I was not alive in those times. Symbolically speaking, the whole group of exile were then as dead as the bones seen in Ezekiel's vision. The bones that Ezekiel saw in vision belonged not to people who had died from natural causes. Also recall that Ezekiel saw not just bones, but very dry bones, which indicated that their death-like condition continued for a long time. And indeed, for Israel and Judah combined, it lasted over 200 years, from 740 to 537 BCE. According to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Jeremiah, where is it? Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Oh, come on. 50, verse 33. It says, "This is what Jehovah of armies has said. The sons of Israel and the sons of Judah are being oppressed together, and all those taking them captive have laid hold on them. They have refused to let them go." Okay, the paragraph is there. Take note if you wish. Interesting the images. They give color to the presentation. Question 9. What similarities are there between the experiences of ancient natural Israel and those of the Israel of God? Restoration prophecies concerning Israel, such as the ones spoken by Ezekiel, have a larger fulfillment. In fact, the captivity of the anointed as a whole continued for so long that their spiritual condition could well be compared to that of bones that were very dry. It says here, Acts chapter 3, verse 21. Acts chapter 3, verse 21. It says, "Who heaven indeed must hold within itself until the times of restoration of all things of which God spoke through the mouth of his holy prophets of all time." Good. As explained in the preceding chapter, the captivity of the anointed Christian congregation began in the 2nd century CE. Okay. besides, lasted for many centuries, many centuries. And it gives Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 30. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 30. Let's read 24 to 30. It says, another illustration he set before them, saying, the kingdom of the heavens has become like a man that sowed fine seed in his field. While men were sleeping, his enemy came and oversowed weeds in among the wheat and left. When the blades sprouted and produced fruit, then the weeds appeared also. So the slaves of the householder came up and said to him, Master, did you not sow fine seed in your field? How then does it come to have weeds? He said to them, an enemy, a man, did this. They said to him, do you want us then to go out and collect them? He said, no, that by no chance, while collecting the weeds, you uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the harvest season, I will tell the reapers, first collect the weeds and bind them in bundles to burn them up. Then go to gathering the wheat into my storehouse. Okay, there you have the answer. Bones. That's the image of bones. Bones began to come together. 10. Question 10. What development regarding God's people was foretold at Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 7 to 8? What factors must have gradually restored the faith of God-fearing exiles? Ezekiel, where is it? Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 7 to 8. 37, verse 7 to 8. It says, and I prophesied just as I had been commanded, and a sound began to cure as soon as I prophesied. And he there was rattling, and bones began to approach, bone to its bone. Bone to its bone. Really, you cannot rely on these devices. And I saw and looked upon them, sinews themselves and flesh itself came up, and skin began to be overlaid upon them above. But as regards breath, there was none in them. When you read this, you wonder, what is that about? One source of hope must have been the prophetic statements made by early prophets in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 13. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 13. Oh, come on. It says, and there will still be in it Advent, and it must again become something for burning down, like a big tree, and like a massive tree in which when there is a cutting down of them, there is a stump, a holy seed will be the stump of it. Okay. Additionally, the many prophecies of restoration that Ezekiel had written no doubt kept that hope alive. Isaiah, if you read the whole book of Isaiah, you would find numerous references to the Messiah. It has been called the fifth gospel, the fifth gospel. I don't really know, I haven't examined it. People just say that. I don't know, but you have there the answer. Well, what is contained in the book. And I honestly believe that it has sense. It makes sense. Paragraph 11 and 12, I think these are the final paragraphs. How did a gradual restoration appear among the Israel of God? B. What question is raised by the statement found at Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 10? Let's read. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 10. 37, verse 10. This is a tablet, look. 37:10. And I prophesied just as he had commanded me, and the breath proceeded to come into them. And they began to live and stand upon their feet, a very, very great military force. Many centuries into the long period of death-like captivity, a noise, a rattling sound was heard as God-fearing individuals rose up in behalf of true worship. But what is rattle? Rattle, if you rattle something, or if it rattles, it shakes and makes a quick series of short sounds. That's the definition of rattle. In the 16th century, William Tyndale prepared a Bible translation in English. Ooh, I can imagine that Bible. So I think this is the end. This is the end of the preparation of the whole meeting. Just the answers. You've got the answer in the screen, so you can copy them. And I hope I'm being helpful with this information. And thank you for your audience. Thank you for your time, your patience. This is the first time that I'm doing such a thing with me in the camera. And please subscribe and share. Thank you very much. And special thanks to my special friend. I would say by name, my special friend, Maria. In some countries in Asia, they don't say Maria, they just say Ma. So what is Ma? I would kill the people in that Asian country if they just say Ma. The complete name is Maria. Maria. Oh my God. Special thanks to her. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.